Ethan, a 26-year-old man, lived a quiet, uneventful life in a bustling city. His job at a design company wasn't particularly outstanding, but it was enough for him to maintain his independence. Ethan was a reserved person, interacting little with others and always keeping himself within a safe shell. However, deep inside, he was a soul yearning for love and change, though he himself didn't fully understand those desires. One morning, as Ethan hurriedly rode his motorbike to work, he unfortunately violated traffic laws. His bike sped forward, ignoring the signs, weaving into the wrong lane, and then suddenly screeching to a stop when he noticed a traffic officer standing nearby. Turning to look, Ethan saw the officer, a woman in uniform with a stern expression. Yet her gaze wasn't purely rigid. It carried something hard to decipher. Her name was Anna, a police officer whose unique allure set her apart. She wasn't exactly beautiful in the conventional sense, but there was something captivating about her, especially in those deep, contemplative eyes. "It seems like you didn't notice the red light," Anna said. Her voice was soft, yet carried an air of authority that was hard to ignore. Ethan felt flustered, offering a sheepish smile. "Sorry, I was in a hurry. I'll pay more attention next time." Anna looked at him, silent for a moment, then began writing down his details. Ethan grew uneasy under that silence, as if she wasn't just addressing a traffic violation, but was peering into his very soul. He quickly paid the fine and prepared to leave. But just as he started his bike, Anna called out to him, "You're forgetting something." Ethan turned back, seeing Anna watching him with a subtle, unreadable look. "What is it?" "You deliberately broke the rules. I could impound your bike, you know?" Ethan froze, his heart racing, but then Anna smiled faintly. "Just kidding, but next time, be more careful." As Ethan rode away, he couldn't shake the strange feeling inside him, an unease mixed with curiosity, as though something had been set in motion. A lingering thought nagged at him, compelling him to wonder if that encounter had been just a coincidence or perhaps the beginning of something more profound. A week after their encounter, Ethan couldn't stop thinking about Anna. What he felt for her wasn't immediate love, but rather a strange fascination, a magnetic pull he couldn't quite explain. He decided to learn more about her through bits of information he happened to hear from friends. Anna was a dedicated traffic officer, but outside of work, her personal life was far more complex. She lived alone in a small apartment, isolated from others, and always maintained a distant aura. Ethan heard whispers that she had once experienced a heartbreaking relationship, one she couldn't seem to forget. That relationship had left a deep wound in her heart, turning her colder and more guarded toward those around her. The more Ethan learned, the more curious he became. Yet he couldn't fully admit these feelings to himself, knowing well that someone like Anna wouldn't easily open her heart. Still, life rarely follows the plans people make. One day, as Ethan was on his way home, he coincidentally encountered Anna again, but this time under very different circumstances. It wasn't because of a traffic violation, but because she was assisting at the scene of a serious traffic accident. Ethan stopped and watched from a distance, observing Anna as she stood in the middle of the chaos, confidently directing people with determination and authority. There was something truly admirable about the strength in her presence, and then she turned around and their eyes met. Anna recognized him immediately and smiled softly, a smile Ethan had never seen on her face before. "You again?" Anna asked, her voice no longer cold like before, but carrying a hint of warmth. Ethan could only nod as that strange feeling within him surged again, stronger than before. He realized he couldn't stop thinking about her. As days passed, Ethan and Anna continued to encounter each other through random situations, brief conversations, and meaningful glances. Yet the truth remained. They were both reluctant to open their hearts. Anna was difficult to read, and Ethan gradually realized she wasn't someone who easily expressed her emotions. One afternoon, as Ethan stepped out of his company building, he happened to see Anna standing by the road, stopping a car for a traffic violation. Being a traffic officer was undoubtedly a stressful job, but Ethan sensed something different in the way Anna worked. She wasn't just enforcing the law, she also listened and cared about the circumstances behind each violation. Ethan couldn't resist approaching her, not because he wanted to draw attention to himself, but because of an inexplicable urge within him. He walked closer, offering her a small smile. "Hey, Anna, everything okay?" Ethan asked. Anna turned to him, a flicker of surprise in her eyes, but then she smiled, though somewhat reluctantly. "It's just the usual. How about you?" "I'm doing fine. I guess I wasn't in a hurry today, so I thought I'd stop by and check in." The two stood in silence for a moment, the tension between them palpable. Ethan could feel the walls Anna had built around herself, but it only deepened his curiosity and desire to understand her. It wasn't love yet. It was an enchantment, a powerful pull from deep within his heart. After that encounter, Ethan began finding more reasons to see Anna. Each meeting felt like they were slowly opening up to one another, though an invisible barrier still lingered between them. Anna wasn't someone who trusted easily, and Ethan realized it wasn't just her job that kept her guarded, but also the scars from her past. One night, as Ethan was driving home, he received an unexpected call from Anna. At first, he couldn't believe it. She had never reached out to him before. "Ethan, I might need your help with something," Anna said over the phone, her voice sounding unusual. "What's wrong?" Ethan asked quickly. "It's nothing serious. I just need a friend to talk to," she replied, her tone carrying a faint sadness. Ethan didn't hesitate for long. "I'll be there right away." When Ethan arrived, Anna was standing on her balcony, gazing into the night sky. She didn't turn around when she heard his footsteps, and as he moved closer, she let out a soft sigh. "Maybe I've done everything I could, but nothing has changed," Anna said heavily. "I used to have dreams, but they all slipped away from me." Ethan's heart tightened at the sight of Anna in such a vulnerable state. He didn't fully understand her past, but he could feel the profound pain she carried. Perhaps that pain was the reason she had become so guarded and strong. "So what do you want to do?" Ethan asked, not to pressure her, but simply to give her space to speak. Anna turned around, her eyes meeting his. There was a flicker of distraction in her gaze, but also a faint glimmer of hope. "I don't know. I just want to live a peaceful life without worrying about the past anymore." Ethan stood in silence. At that moment, he realized that Anna wasn't just a stern traffic officer. She was a woman burdened with deep, invisible wounds. "Don't worry, I'm here," Ethan said softly, a surge of protectiveness rising within him, as though he wanted to help her overcome everything. After that night, Ethan increasingly felt the contradictions in his heart. He didn't just admire Anna, he began to sense an invisible connection between them. But was it because he wanted to help her escape her past, or were his feelings for her something far more genuine? A week later, Ethan once again ran into Anna under unexpected circumstances. She was standing in front of a car being inspected, and that car had a very familiar detail, one he recognized immediately. It belonged to the man Ethan had seen the other day, someone who seemed to share an unusual relationship with Anna. Ethan couldn't help but wonder, was Anna hiding a secret from him? He couldn't stop thinking about it. His mind spun with thoughts of Anna. With every encounter, he felt he was learning more about her, yet simultaneously she seemed further away than ever. Anna wasn't someone who opened up easily. Everything she did and every word she spoke carried hidden meanings. And in her eyes, Ethan always sensed a distant sadness, as though something much larger overshadowed everything. One afternoon, while walking along a familiar street, Ethan came across a scene that stopped him in his tracks. Anna stood near a car, facing the very same man Ethan had seen earlier in the accident. They were talking intensely, their conversation verging on an argument. From a distance, Ethan watched, unsure whether to approach or stay away. Suddenly, he felt as though a part of his world was collapsing. He couldn't understand why a traffic officer like Anna would have such a close, tense relationship with someone whose past seemed so questionable. The thought shook him. The question lingered in his mind. Was Anna hiding a secret? And where could this relationship between them possibly go? Unable to hold back his curiosity, Ethan decided to investigate. He began observing Anna's actions, even paying attention to the phone calls she received. One day, by chance, Ethan overheard a conversation Anna had over the phone with that man. Her tone was tense but firm. "You can't keep showing up in my life like this," Anna said, her voice sharp with resolve. "But you know you can't escape me, Anna. We've been a part of each other for far too long," the man replied, his tone laced with challenge. A chill ran through Ethan's body, his mind swirling with confusion. What kind of past did Anna share with this man? Could this relationship be the reason Anna had become the guarded, distant person she was now? The question haunted Ethan, refusing to leave his thoughts. Ethan couldn't stay silent any longer. He decided to confront Anna, not because he wanted to dig deeper into her past, but because he needed to understand the relationship between them. One evening, just as Anna had finished her shift, Ethan appeared at her doorstep. She looked surprised to see him standing there, but there was no anger or annoyance in her expression. Instead, her eyes were filled with sorrow and unspoken emotion. "Ethan, is something wrong?" Anna asked, her voice calm but cautious. "We need to talk," Ethan replied without hesitation. "About everything. About him. About us." Anna stood in silence for a moment before letting out a soft sigh. She invited Ethan inside and they sat together in the dimly lit living room. The faint glow of the lamp cast shadows across their faces, both deep in thought. "Ethan, I know you have questions, and I understand you have the right to ask them. But I also need you to understand that there are things from my past I cannot change," Anna began, her eyes gazing into the distance as though she were looking at something far away, something only she could see. "He's a part of my life that I can't erase, no matter how much I want to. But that's not why I can't have a peaceful life. That's not why I can't continue my work or fulfill my responsibilities." Ethan listened carefully to every word Anna said, feeling the weight of her pain. But he couldn't stop himself from asking, who is he? Why does he have such an impact on your life? Anna turned to look at Ethan, her eyes suddenly lighting up with the resolve of someone who had made a difficult decision. "He's a criminal, someone I once investigated in a serious case. We share a complicated history, one I can't tell you everything about. But I'm sorry, I can't stand here and let you keep doubting me." Hearing her words, Ethan felt as though he had been jolted awake from a dream. Everything he thought he knew about Anna suddenly seemed uncertain. She wasn't just an ordinary traffic officer. She was someone who had fought dangerous criminals. She wasn't merely a woman searching for peace, but a fierce warrior who carried the weight of a harrowing past. Ethan remained silent. He realized he couldn't force Anna to reveal everything, but he also knew that their relationship would never be the same. An invisible wall had been erected between them, whether intentionally or not. Ethan began to feel that his relationship with Anna was becoming increasingly complicated. His feelings for her were no longer just simple affection. They had turned into a battle against secrets, truths that neither of them was ready to face. One day, while Ethan was looking into Anna's past, he discovered that it wasn't just a single criminal she had confronted. There was a much larger organization targeting her. This organization was connected to cases Anna had been involved with throughout her career, and their operations extended far beyond anything simple or isolated. Ethan felt himself being pulled into a dangerous spiral, a place where there was no turning back. Everything was changing rapidly, and no one could have anticipated the truth behind the secrets Anna had kept hidden. The storm that Ethan felt was getting closer than ever. Everything around him suddenly seemed blurred. The secrets about Anna's past, the dangers behind her work, were now slowly revealing themselves, as if each piece of a chaotic puzzle was gradually being unveiled. One evening, Ethan received a call from Anna. This time, it wasn't a hurried or urgent call, but a calm voice, as if she had prepared for something significant. "Ethan, I need your help," Anna said on the phone, her voice full of tension. "What's going on?" Ethan asked, sensing the worry in her tone. "You know, there are things I can't do on my own. I thought I could handle everything, but now I can't," Anna replied, her voice trembling, perhaps for the first time, losing the usual firmness she carried. Ethan didn't hesitate, feeling a strong urge within himself. "What do you need me to do?" Anna paused for a moment, then said, "I'm facing a dangerous situation. There's a criminal organization following me, and I can't protect myself alone anymore. I need your help." Ethan was stunned. He couldn't believe what he had just heard. Anna, the woman he had once seen as strong and invincible, was now saying such things. "Do you trust me?" Anna asked, her voice faint, as if seeking reassurance in Ethan's words. Ethan didn't need to think long. He knew his answer. I trust you. The conversation ended, and Ethan immediately threw himself into the investigation. He knew that if Anna was asking for help, it wasn't because she was weak, but because the situation had gotten beyond her control. Both of them were now caught in a battle far from simple, and things would never be the same again. Ethan and Anna decided to confront the criminal organization Anna had mentioned together. But the closer they got to the truth, the more they found themselves pushed into increasingly dangerous situations. One day, while Anna was at work, Ethan discovered that a group of people was following her. These individuals remained out of sight, but their signs were unmistakable. Strange cars parked near her house, calls she couldn't answer, and suspicious looks from people around her. Ethan decided to take action. He contacted his friends in the industry to gather information about this criminal group. But what he uncovered sent a chill down his spine. This organization not only had an underground force within the police, but also had connections to powerful figures in society. Figures Ethan never would have suspected. And they were monitoring every move he and Anna made. One evening, Ethan decided to meet Anna to discuss his findings. He braced himself for the truth, knowing that it could change everything. When Ethan entered Anna's house, he found her standing at the window, gazing out with a tired expression. It seemed like she already knew things had gone too far. Ethan, I can't hide it from you any longer, Anna said as Ethan stepped inside. Then let me understand everything, Anna. Who are we facing? And why have I been dragged into this fight? Ethan asked, his voice filled with concern but also determination. Anna turned to face him, her eyes filled with sadness. We're not just facing an ordinary criminal organization. It's a network I've been dealing with since I started my job. I was once a well-known criminal investigator, but then for personal reasons, I was set up, and this organization used my connections to control everything. Ethan listened, each word from Anna like a heavy stone dropping, leaving him stunned. You're saying you were set up? But why did you hide all of this from me? Anna sat down, her hands clenched tightly. Because I didn't want you dragged into this danger. I tried to protect you, but now I can't do that anymore. This organization isn't just watching me. They know about you. Ethan couldn't believe his ears. He looked into Anna's eyes, feeling both her desperation and her resolve. No matter what, she hadn't given up. So what do we do now? Ethan asked, his voice serious. Anna stood up, her eyes suddenly gleaming with determination. We have to face them, but this time we can't do it alone. We need support from the outside, and I know someone who can help us. Ethan felt as if his whole world was collapsing, but he knew there was no turning back. They had entered this battle, and there was no way out. Love, trust, and truth, all of them were being tested. And now Ethan had to face a decision more important than anything he had ever imagined. With the help of trusted allies in the industry, Ethan and Anna began to devise a plan to confront the criminal organization. But as they got closer to their goal, a shocking revelation turned everything upside down. Ethan discovered that one of his closest friends, a veteran police officer he had always trusted, had betrayed them. Not only had this officer been selling information to the criminal organization, but he was also manipulating every move of Ethan and Anna's plan. The sense of betrayal hit Ethan like a tidal wave, leaving him unable to think clearly. How could he trust anyone in a fight filled with manipulation and lies? The people he had relied on for so long were no longer who they appeared to be, and the weight of the deception threatened to break him. Every step forward felt like it was getting harder, and the path ahead was shrouded in doubt. Was anyone on their side? Could they even continue in this fight without risking everything? The question haunted Ethan's mind, and the trust he had placed in those around him seemed increasingly fragile. Ethan stood in the dark room, his gaze fixed on his close friend David, a seasoned police officer whom he had always trusted as a reliable ally for years. But now, after discovering the secrets David had been hiding, Ethan felt as if he had been struck by a lightning bolt. His entire world suddenly crumbled. David, how could this happen? Ethan tried to stay calm, but his voice betrayed his disappointment. I trusted you. Why did you betray us? Why did you do this? David remained silent, his eyes avoiding Ethan's, clearly not wanting to face him. But Ethan knew there was no more hiding. Ethan, you don't understand, David said, his voice heavy with regret. I had no choice. This organization is too powerful, and if I didn't do it, they wouldn't spare me. You know, not everyone can fight like Anna. Ethan stayed silent, the anger and hurt welling up inside him. What had David done to feel like he had no choice? It turned out that both of them were caught in a fight they couldn't control. David wasn't a bad person, but in this situation, he had become part of the larger evil. "You sold us out," Ethan said, his words cold. "What about Anna? What will she do if she finds out about this?" "Don't tell her," David interrupted, his voice anxious. "She'll never forgive me, and if she finds out, everything will end. There will be no way out for either of us." Ethan felt an emptiness in his chest. David was no longer the friend he had trusted. Everything they had shared now seemed like lies. Ethan just wanted to leave, but he knew that if he did, things would only get worse. He couldn't let Anna and himself be hurt any further. Ethan knew he had to act. He couldn't let David get away with what he had done, but he also couldn't let this betrayal destroy everything he had built with Anna. Ethan made his way to Anna's place immediately after meeting David. He needed to tell her the truth, even though it might shatter their relationship. But he could no longer live in lies. When Anna saw Ethan walking in, she immediately noticed something was wrong. He couldn't hide the exhaustion and worry on his face. "Ethan, what's going on?" Anna asked, her gaze piercing through him. Ethan remained silent, reaching into his pocket and pulling out a piece of paper, handing it to Anna. "These are the details I just uncovered. David sold us out. He's working for that crime organization." Anna looked at the paper, her eyes widening in disbelief. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. "It can't be," Anna whispered, her voice full of confusion. "David. He was the one I trusted the most. He's been protecting me all these years." Ethan lowered his head, feeling the pain in his heart deepen. He knew telling Anna the truth was going to be a devastating blow to her, but he couldn't hide it any longer. "He betrayed us, Anna, and if we don't stop this now, things are going to get worse. Not only is he working for that organization, but he's also putting us in their sights." Anna sat down, her eyes blank, as if she could no longer handle the weight of the truth. Her entire world seemed to collapse. Everything she had trusted now seemed like lies. "Ethan, you don't understand," Anna said, her voice trembling. "I've been fighting for so many years to protect the people I care about. But now what do I do?" Ethan sat next to her, his eyes full of empathy. "We can't keep running, Anna. This organization is too powerful, and we have to face it. But I can't do it alone. I need you." Anna looked at Ethan, her eyes filled with tears, but also with determination. "Thank you, Ethan. I know I can't do this alone, but I don't want you dragged into this fight anymore. Our love, can it survive when everything is being threatened?" Ethan squeezed Anna's hand, his eyes never leaving hers. "Our love will not break, no matter what happens. I'll be by your side, facing it all together." They sat in silence, feeling the stillness in the air, but understanding that this was the decisive moment for their fate. Their relationship would face not only the trials of love, but also a life-and-death battle with the crime organization that was lurking in the shadows. Now Ethan and Anna had no way back. They knew this battle would not be easy, but there was no other choice. Together they prepared for a fight whose outcome they could not predict. The watchful enemies, the dark schemes, everything was pushing them into a corner. Yet no matter the danger, no matter the sacrifice, Ethan and Anna would not turn back. The road ahead would be full of challenges, but they were resolute. Would they emerge victorious, or would everything be buried under the ruins of secrets, betrayal, and sacrifice? Ethan and Anna decided to launch their attack on the criminal organization from within. They both knew there was no time to wait or back down. If they delayed any longer, everything would spiral out of control. Their plan was simple but extremely risky. They would find a way to sever the ties between Ryan and the masterminds behind the criminal network. Ethan would infiltrate the organization's inner circle, while Anna would serve as the lookout, monitoring from a distance and providing warnings when necessary. As the day of their mission approached, the tension in the air was palpable. Both of them understood this would be the final chance they had to act, and there would be no room for mistakes. If they failed, not only their lives, but also the lives of their loved ones would be swept into the whirlwind of danger they had unleashed. That night, Ethan received a signal from one of his contacts in the force. A major transaction was set to take place at an old warehouse on the outskirts of the city. This was their only chance to bring down the criminal organization. Ethan and Anna made their preparations, but both of them carried a sense of unease. Despite the meticulous planning, they knew they might be facing threats far more dangerous than they could ever imagine. "Minh, I need to tell you something." "I'm not sure I can do this," Anna said as they drove toward the meeting point. Ethan looked at her, his gaze resolute. "You don't have to do anything too risky, Anna. If something goes wrong, you get out immediately. You're the only one I still trust. We'll do this together." Anna nodded, but there was a worry in her eyes that Ethan couldn't fully comprehend. They both understood that this battle was not just about life or death. It was about something far more significant: trust, sacrifice, and the love they shared for each other. That night, Ethan and Anna arrived at the old warehouse, the silence of the night thick with tension. Everyone was in a state of readiness, but Ethan couldn't shake the unease gnawing at him. He knew this plan could fall apart, and they would have to face any consequences that came their way. As they entered the warehouse, Ethan realized things weren't as he had imagined. The allies he thought he had were now betraying him without hesitation. David, his once trusted friend, stood in the middle of the crowd, a cold smile on his face. "Ethan, you're here," David said, his voice stripped of any warmth. "You came early, but I think you've misunderstood the situation." Ethan stared at David, unable to believe what he was seeing. You set this up from the beginning?" Ethan asked, his voice heavy with disappointment. David smirked, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "You don't understand, Ethan. If you think I did all this for money or power, you're wrong. I just want to protect my life. This organization isn't just dangerous, it's powerful. You can't win." Ethan felt his world crash down around him. He realized David had long since stopped being the friend he once trusted. Everything, the relationships, the promises, were now shattered, fragments impossible to piece back together. "But I can't let this organization exist," Ethan replied, his voice resolute. "Even if it costs everything, I'm stopping it here." Before he could finish, the room erupted in chaos. Loud explosions filled the air as undercover officers, their allies hidden among them, stormed in from every side. A fierce gunfight broke out, and Ethan and Anna were immediately thrown into the battle. Everything descended into chaos. Amid the turmoil, Ethan and David came face to face. "You can't run forever," Ethan said, his voice filled with rage. "Oh, really?" David replied, his eyes devoid of confusion, replaced with an icy detachment. "So what, Ethan? We're all just pawns in someone else's game." David's words cut deeply into Ethan. He realized that not just David, but so many others were caught in the grip of those who controlled the strings of power. Finally, the battle lasted through the night. As the light of dawn began to break, Ethan and Anna stood amidst the rubble. Both were injured, exhausted, but they couldn't shake off the feeling of liberation. The criminal organization had been defeated, but the price had been steep. Anna stood beside Ethan, her eyes fixed on the wreckage in front of them. "We won, Ethan. But did we really win?" Ethan looked at her, his eyes filled with exhaustion, but also a deep sense of conviction. "We protected what was important, and though the future is uncertain, I will always stand by you, Anna, to face whatever comes next." With a battle now behind them and sacrifices that could never be fully counted, Ethan and Anna walked through a world where they were no longer just ordinary people. But no matter what, love and trust would remain their driving force to overcome it all. Ethan and Anna had defeated the criminal organization, but questions about love, sacrifice, and choices still lingered in their minds. Though they had won, they now faced a long journey ahead, one where nothing was certain, but their love would be the light to guide them through the darkness. And that is the story of Ethan and Anna, a journey filled with challenges, love, betrayal, and painful decisions. If you felt the emotional highs and lows they went through, don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you won't miss the next videos. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your opinions on the story, on what happened, and what might happen next. Thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next videos, where we'll explore more inspiring stories and life challenges. Wishing you a wonderful day.